If you don't mind this week, let's move up front as close as we can. Some of you folks are hanging out in the back, but it's much funner when we have funner. It's much more fun if we're all here hanging out. We're all friends. Nobody fights. Yeah, look at all these folks. Handshakes, meet people. That's what it's all about. All right. How's everyone doing this morning? Good. How's everyone doing this morning? Good. Awesome. Thanks y'all for coming out. My name is Jordan Carlisle. I'm with the Little Rock Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I'm one of the kind of co-founders / charter members of 1 Million Cups, along with Mike Steely. We also have two other organizers, Nicholas Norfolk and Susie Cowan, who come here this morning. And we are so thankful that you are coming out this morning. Who has not been to 1 Million Cups before? Or maybe you've only come part of it or don't know everything about it yet. Raise your hand. A few folks. Okay, awesome. Love to see new faces. So for those of you who don't know the spiel, this is a weekly educational program where we have entrepreneurs and business people come and tell their stories about what they're working on, what the business that they have is, what problems do they solve, who are they solving it for, and what are some of the obstacles that they're currently facing, what are some of the successes we can champion with them, and really feel great about sharing that story. And then we get to jump into a Q&A, which is always my favorite part, because then you guys get to ask specific questions around how they operate or how they execute and what's the journey been like. So that way you can learn, but you can also give constructive feedback and ask great engaging questions that might help think things through in a different light. But we couldn't do this without our sponsors and all our support for the community. First and foremost, all of you folks, all the entrepreneurs in the room and the business folks, the supporters of those entrepreneurs. Thank you all for coming out each and every week. We also have our sponsors, the Little Rock Regional Chamber, as I mentioned, the Venture Center for providing boots on the ground efforts every single week. Steve and Jessica, thank you so much for getting us set up with now our live stream that we broadcast every single week. And also just this incredible space to operate out of. And also the tech park kind of through the Venture Center. The tech park is in their first stage here and building out their plans for Main Street, and we're thankful to collaborate with them and be a part of the early stages of everything. And then last but not least, the Kaufman Foundation. So if you guys haven't heard about the Kaufman Foundation, they're based out of Kansas City, and that's where 1 Million Cups was birthed. And they have tons of programs that they launch all over the world, actually. All privately funded, all with the intention of supporting entrepreneurship, because they truly believe that human beings are born with entrepreneurial spirit. It's the way we develop and how we execute on that entrepreneurial spirit, but when you think about what it comes down to, it's all about problem solving and using scarce resources to create value for other people. And entrepreneurs just happen to do that on a greater scale than most people. And that's really cool. But it also provides huge impact for the world, and they fully support that. So, this program specifically has a thesis. And I say this every week, and I love saying it because it makes me chill still. That by sharing 1 million more cups of coffee with each other, or maybe it's drinks afterward, we can fundamentally change the way our entrepreneurial ecosystem works. Because when you come here and when you have a cup of coffee, you get comfortable with that person, and you open your ears and hearts to what that person's going through, versus just hearing kind of like maybe a sales pitch or just hearing about how that business makes money. It's more about why they're passionate about it, why they care about it, and why they do it every single day, and why they're inspired to do that work. And we know that this is making an impact in our community. We've already seen it those folks who come every single week, they believe in it. And the entrepreneurs who have been through here will attest to how this is growing our community. So thank you all for coming out. That's enough about how this program works. Now we're going to transition into what we all came here for, and that's to hear more about our technology and what they're working on and how we can help support them. So Walter, why don't you come up here and give us the rundown of what you guys are working on.
So good morning. As Jordan said, I'm Walter Burgess with Power Technology. Thank you guys for taking time out of your busy work week to hear our story. It's a story that we're happy with. If you have questions that we have to share. So our company is a 45-year-old startup. And I say that because we're facing problems that are so outside of our normal market space that we quite frankly have to look at it like a startup. So our traditional businesses are not cinema, but we're going to spend the morning talking about cinema. So our new product is the laser Illumina system, Illumina laser system, and it is a light source for laser illuminated projection. So we're taking the light bulb out of a cinema projector and we're replacing that with laser light. So there's a couple reasons to do that. We'll get to that in a moment. But it really began to take shape in 2012. Our journey to cinema started in that year. And it was during that year that we completed a $1.5 million contract with a tier 1 military contractor, defense contractor. During that project, we had 5 different methods of speckle reduction. I'll explain more about speckle reduction in a moment. But we have 5 methods of speckle reduction that we evaluated, tested, engineered, and ranked. And the best speckle reduction method was chosen. We went into production and ultimately made 80 laser systems that were low speckle and military grade. We deployed those 80 systems throughout the world. So that technology has been proven to reduce speckle effectively while being immune to harsh environments. And that's critical because theaters demand high uptime. They don't want any downtime at all. So the knowledge that we gained during that program is really what inspired us to get into the cinema technology, simply because this technology is the founding technology that you need to be effective with laser illuminated projection. So some of you may know, if you're nerdy like me, you're going to know that a laser is monochromatic, has one singular color, and when you're trying to project an image like this one, that's a bad thing. So the speckle is created because of the laser's inherent monochromaticity. We use the big technical terms. So overcoming that technical challenge was critical, but ultimately, the story that leads us here is that there's a problem that we want to solve. So over the last 10 years, we've seen that cinema technology is no longer good enough. And that really shows up in the ticket sales figures for the last decade, between 2004 and 2014. So cinema attendance peaked in 2004 with 1.5 billion tickets sold. So it came to a low point in 2014 with only 1.27 million tickets sold. That's a loss of 230 million tickets per year, for a cumulative total of almost 1.5 billion tickets sold. So that's a massive financial hit for cinemas and for theaters and the whole movie industry. So that's the problem that we're trying to solve. So why are these ticket sales declining? There's a lot that's changed over 10 years. So if we dig a little deeper, we see several factors that have contributed to that. To put it simply, the experience or the magic of going to the theaters just isn't there anymore. It's evaporated. So we used to go to the movies to be blown away by huge screens, beautiful images, thunderous sounds, and the ability to get completely lost in the story. But the introduction of several key technologies in your home have actually eroded that experience to the point where the theater just hasn't been able to motivate you to get off your couch and go to the theater. So we're hoping to reverse that. So since 2004, we've seen DVDs, Blu-rays, Netflix, iTunes, all those things have become popular in bringing high-quality content into our homes. We've also seen that television quality has improved dramatically. We've witnessed the introduction of digital TV signals, 720p, 1080i, 1080p, and now even 4K resolution, bringing some stunning images into our home. We've also seen that we have high-quality, immersive sound systems surrounding our television in our home and in our living room. So products like Dolby Surround Sound have really put your living room on par with what you have in the theater. So what's the movie theater industry and Hollywood in general doing to reverse the decline in ticket sales? Well, with that much money at stake, I guarantee they're not sitting still, right? So they have a multi-pronged approach. It really boils down to having better sound. Dolby's just released a new Atmos sound system. You may have seen some news on that. I've seen that recently. That system has over 30 speakers in the theater itself. So we're no longer talking about 4 or 6 speakers. We're talking about 30 or more speakers in a theater. So better seating. How many of you been to New Breckenridge Theater in West Little Rock? My wife's new favorite theater. They have plush seats. I'm talking recliner, home recliner theater. So that is a really big deal for her. She's more of a typical person, theater patron. And so that's one of the things that they're doing to reverse the trend. Also better food choices. It's no longer just popcorn and Cokes. You've got pizza, hot dogs, pretzels, some really weird stuff coming out. And then of course adult alcoholic beverages, always a draw for certain crowds. And then lastly, better pictures. And that's where we come in. The laser illuminated projection system is part of an overall strategy to get the viewers back into the theaters. So for decades, movie projectors have really been based on xenon bulbs. Even the small projector that we're using today is based on 150-year-old xenon bulb technology. The problem is the xenon bulbs that are used in the theaters just can't get any brighter. You cannot get a bigger IMAX screen than we have today because the bulb is limited, it's antiquated, and it's just not going to get any brighter. So that's a problem because ticket buyers, they want that larger screen, even bigger than Little Rock Chanel 9, and they want brighter 3D pictures. So how many of you have ever been to the 3D movie and noticed just how dark it is? Yeah, okay. And it's not just because you're wearing sunglasses in the dark. That is because only 20% of the light from a 3D film gets to your eyes in today's cinema. With laser illuminated projection, that can increase up to 80%. So you get 4 times the brightness with over today's technology. So also, that's why the theater owner, that's why the audience would want to go, but what would the theater owner get out of this conversion? So there's a specific benefit to them that it reduces their cost of ownership. So I visited Galveston, Texas, and Moody Gardens in December. The gentleman there told me that they're spending $49,000 a year to replace these xenon bulbs. That's a xenon bulb, $49,000 a year in operating costs to replace it. That can be reduced, actually eliminated. A theater owner can eliminate bulb changes and never have to buy another xenon bulb again. And while he's at it, he's reducing his air conditioning costs and his electrical costs by 50%. So it's pretty significant ROI. It makes a very strong case for laser illuminated projection. You can offer that theater owner a savings of $10,000 per screen per year as a result of reduced operating costs. So ultimately, the Illumina light source does what no other light source can do. That's put more light with richer colors on the screen for movie audiences. So it does that with an attractive ROI, and every single one of 135 movie screens worldwide can benefit from that. So our product's market ready, and it's there to replace every one of those. So that's it in a nutshell. George? Thank you, Walter.
All right, so be excited for a second. We're going to roll into Q&A. So who's got the first question? I know you always have one.
Laser technology, can laser light actually transmit data? Is it like fiber optics? I mean, does it have that possibility to transmit information to consumers? I know the second screen type technologies today for TV, movies, and whatnot, is kind of competitive with that here.
Well, two parts to your question. One, our entire internet is based on laser transmitting light through fiber optics, so absolutely possible. I think what you're asking is, can the cinema projector encode data that would then be received by an audience? Yes, that's possible. Absolutely possible. There just would have to be a financial reason to do so, but it's certainly within the capabilities of the projection technology and laser technology.
I've had class come before and there's some kind of free prototype R&D and so forth. I mean, you guys are definitely geared up for this right now, right? As far as pursuing that kind of learning curve, so to speak, from transmitting to individual consumers. It's something that if someone came to you, you're geared up to handle.
So if you're asking, is the product market ready and available? Yes. So we visited, in the last 5 weeks, we visited 2 major trade shows. The U.S. second largest trade show, which is NAB in Las Vegas. And then the following week, we went to CinemaCon in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace, and this product was introduced at those 2 events.
Next question.
Good morning. So what's the ROI on this product? You talked about how you save a lot on using the product. What's the cost? Does it take to produce that?
Those specific answers are available after we have an NDA.
No.
But in general, I can tell you that as with most capital equipment, there is a higher upfront cost. So within a few short years, your return on that investment begins to make you money. So the bigger the screen, the faster that happens. And it makes most financial sense for your premium large format screen, like an IMAX size screen. They've got the biggest pain to solve. So the biggest benefit is to those users. Smaller screens, they're going to get an ROI if they just take just another year or so.
Typically, amazing technology. Really excited about this. On the consumer level, are you in talks with any of the television manufacturers to downscale the technology and produce it for the consumer? Is there
Some other companies like Mitsubishi and Sony have already sort of stated claim in that a couple of years ago. It didn't gain traction, primarily because of cost. So there are still some of those legacy models out there from a few years ago. So there's really no financial motivation at those screen sizes. And even at this screen size, say below 100 inch, there's probably not a lot of financial reason to do it. You're always going to have that superstar that's got to have the latest technology, and we'll help that person. But primarily, the ROI starts at about 10,000 lumens, which is the brightness level for projectors.
questions? Okay, I've got one. Can you tell us how our technology fits in the supply chain vertical of laser technology, and what components do you guys develop? Manufacturing, R&D, sales, all that.
So just projection, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, within projection, we're going to be half of the solution. We are not projector experts. We don't claim to have any special knowledge about projection, but we are laser experts. And so as this cinema technology is now ramping up, we see that the projector manufacturers don't quite have all of the knowledge that they would like to have when it comes to laser light. Speckle reduction is a key technology that they're sometimes struggling with, some manufacturers. Also, just handling the heat and electrical demands that lasers have is also a new skill for them. Something we've been doing for 45 years that we take for granted. We find that they don't quite possess that skill. So we will go to the market with either partnerships with projector manufacturers, or we'll provide an OEM agreement with the projector manufacturer himself. We can enter the market that way. Or in some cases, we may actually just buy a projector, retrofit it, and then provide the entire solution to the market. So very clearly, we are half the solution.
Well, John, Rick, and Zach, you guys have a really cool story over the last 25 years. Why don't you tell the crowd kind of how you got to where you are today?
So the company began in 1969. Our first customer just happened to be in Jacksonville, Arkansas. They are still a customer 45 years later, still buy lasers from us on a regular basis. If you know the company by its current name, it's Arkansas Grade Laser, or AGL. Back then they were called Blunt and George. You may remember Blunt's daughter was an actress. She was in An Officer and a Gentleman. So a little local movie trivia since we're talking about movies. So that was our first customer. They were doing construction lasers at the time. They still make construction lasers. Construction lasers are now a very small part of what we do. The majority of our business comes from analytic, scientific, semiconductor, and defense business. So when I say this is way outside of our comfort zone, it's way outside. We've not done anything like this before, but we are the laser experts in projection.
When did you develop a passion for lasers?
I don't know. A long time ago. I got too much gray hair to remember that.
Was there like a genesis story, like something that sparked your interest initially?
The ability to create something and see it through the entire design process, from customer need all the way to market introduction, sort of pulled my levers. So that's where I get the joy and the personal satisfaction, getting the team to migrate from thought to product. Fascinates me a little bit, so that's probably the best thing to try to follow.
Good.
And John Finner, Kelly Services. I'm interested to hear about this project that you did for the military and how that made that transition from doing that project to the movie and that application.
I'll avoid that. I'll have to kill you, Joe.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I mean, what you can do.
Well, the origins of that was that the customer in the military contractor at the time needed a laser spot, a laser beam with very low spec. And we did at that time realize the strong connection between laser projection, cinema projection, and the military contract when we accepted the order. It was in 2010 when that order was taken. But at the end of that order, when we completed it in 2012, laser cinema projection was beginning to be discussed in our industry, and the spec term kept coming up over and over again. And finally, the light bulb came on. We solved that problem with this other contract, and we can take the knowledge gain, be very clear, we took the knowledge, not the product that we developed for the military. So we took that experience and knowledge and said, well, here's another market. It's in its infancy, and we can be an early player in the way, I didn't mention it earlier, but there's only about 40 to 50 laser illuminated projection systems globally installed right now, with 135,000 movie screens. And over 800 of those are IMAX or premium large format. So that's just to give you some market scale where we're at in its evolution. The market is early, and there's really, besides projector manufacturers, there's really only one competitor in the space for us.
How do you handle retina damage? Well, sorry, how do you avoid retina damage when somebody turns around from you?
That's a really good question. So, not only has the European, Japanese, and American laser safety organizations signed off on this application, but we do have that permission from the government with regulations that happened in February, matter of fact. They've proven, and third parties have proven, that laser illuminated projection is just as safe as the xenon bolt projection. So that's been proven via science, not marketing. So there's some third-party studies that have been out there. But there are some things that we do in the theater to help mitigate risk even further. There's certain height limits where the laser light can be shown. The projector could be no more than so many feet off the ground. So there's some safety precautions in there as well. But there is no danger from the traditional laser danger when it comes to projection. We move beyond having a point source to an extended source. And that's a lot safer laser configuration. Good question. We're time for a couple more questions. If anyone has them.
Hey, Caleb from Casualties. This may be, you may have already explained this, but is there anywhere we can see this? I mean, I'm guessing every theater in Arkansas is probably still on V1 is that correct?
Unfortunately, correct.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess it's a two-parter. Well, could you explain further? You say you're 50% of the solution. Who's the other 50%? Do you have a specific partner in projectors that you're working with, or are you building that hardware as well?
So the other half is the projector itself. So we can take the bulb out of just about any of the big cinema projectors and replace it with laser light, but we don't make the projector. That's a unique set of skills which we have no reason to possess. So a projector manufacturer like a Christie or a Arco or NEC or Sony would be some of the brands that you would associate with high-end cinema projectors.
So what have your efforts been like to sell this to movie theaters so far? You bring in a bulb and say, let me plug this in your projector. I mean, that may be a really stupid question, but how do you show them if you don't have one to show, like you're locally, have you tried approaching the theaters?
So we've tried not to approach the theaters directly because that's 130,000 customers. So we would actually prefer to go through a projector company and work with them in an OEM basis where we're supplying them a light engine to go into their projector. That would be the ideal case. There's also a group of integrators, people that build movie theaters on contract with the movie house. They often get involved in specified equipment. That's another market channel as well. We have had some customers ask directly, and we'll work with them on a case-by-case basis. But to answer your first question, the nearest laser illuminated projection system is in Galveston, Texas, at Movie Gardens.
My name's Jack. One question I have is, with this technology, let's say you find a good partner who can provide a projector manufacturer, would this require a change in the format of the films themselves? They're sent into those projectors. You've got a much higher quality image.
Absolutely, great question. You know way too much. Yes, it would require a different encryption type to take full advantage of today's films. So today's films are graded for 3-foot waivers. Laser illuminated projection would need to be regraded from the original master to 14-foot waivers. If I take and turn the laser brightness all the way up, today's film, whatever's showing down the street will actually wash out. You actually have to degrade the laser performance just because of the encryption of the movie. So, yes.
I guess my other question is, you made the jump from one project to this potential product. Do you see any other potential avenues as you go into any type of product?
Absolutely. Data-based projectors within the next growth sector below 10,000 lumens. And that's going to take some really Herculean cost efforts on people that I don't control, suppliers that I don't control. That would be the next growth market. But yeah, there may be some other things out there that you see. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you everyone for those great questions. As we do with every single presenter, though, we're going to ask Walter, what is the one thing that we can do as a community, as a one Coast family, to help our technology incorporate it, and maybe something we can step away with today and immediately help you guys out.
So I've got two answers to that question. One, we're looking for entrepreneurial-minded people to join the company, become evangelists for the company, specifically in the area of laser sales. Not this product initially, but our traditional products. So we are looking for those type of people, also engineering types. We always have our eyes open for engineers and business builders. And then secondly, you can begin that local conversation with your theaters. Ask them when they're going to convert. Have they heard about laser illuminated projection? A lot of theater owners still don't know what the benefits are. They don't know how it's going to impact their business. They don't know how to reverse the trend of losing ticket sales. So it's going to catch up with them. They're just not quite aware of why it's happening to them. But people like the Motion Picture Association and others, they figured it out at a national or international level. The word hasn't reached the local theaters.
All right, so two things. Help find people that could possibly work for you, and then theaters. So remember that, guys. One thing I know all you regulars know this already, but let's share that. So social media, hashtag #1CLR. Let's get that message out there. Let's really help you. So let's give it up to Walter one more time. I'm really proud to say we have this type of company in our backyard here in Arkansas, and it's really amazing to see this technology, and I have a pretty good feeling that in a couple of years we'll start hearing how all these theaters are upgrading and doing all this stuff, and we'll know the people behind it. So you guys saw it today. Next time you're in a theater, hit them up. So thank you again. You guys, for next week, we've got a company coming down from Northwest Arkansas called Lonley. They're attempting to be the Uber for lawn care. Really fascinating stuff. They've got a product coming out. It actually works really well too. And on the horizon after that, we've got a company called Wiser, which is a native Arkansan who transplanted himself to Atlanta, who just put his startup into the Braintree Accelerator, which is one of the top accelerators in the country, and partnering with Procter & Gamble on that. He's going to come back and tell a story here because he thinks that Little Rock has some cool stuff going on, and we're going to welcome him. So we want to make sure that he knows that there's a lot of awesome stuff that he potentially may manufacture. And then in the distant future, we're also going to get a first glimpse at Spotlight, which is a company who is moving part of their team from Boulder, Colorado to downtown Little Rock because they think that downtown Little Rock is the place to be. So thank you all for coming out. We look forward to seeing you all at the next events. Make sure and catch some of the Venture Center events that'll flash here up on the board. And then ask Steve or Jessica about any details you guys might want to know about. And Steve, are there any specific ones that we might want to give shout out to?
The mixer, the speed mixer is coming up June 9th.
Okay.
June 9th. And just and mentor training is June 2nd. So if you're interested in mentor training, it winter training, all the information is there.
All right, thank you all for coming out, and we'll see you guys next week. Stay down,